So I just finished watching Gran Turismo on Netflix. I wanted to watch this movie when it came out in theaters, but for some reason I missed it. And I remember when I first saw the trailer of this movie, it really got me excited. The fact that it had David Harbour in it as a mentor kind of a figure really caught my eye. Now, because I love Stranger Things and he has this persona of him as a man that really comes out as an elder mentor, a tough mentor actually, who won't praise you directly but will definitely give you a hard time with all his charm, with obviously for the greater good. But then the idea of this movie was quite surreal too. A gamer turned into a real racer. It really felt stupid and silly, but then it was also based on a real story. Could you believe it? So it was all promising. Anyways, coming to the movie, I did enjoy the movie, but I did have my problems with the choices that the lead character Jann was taking. We'll talk about them later in this video. The movie actually sets you up for one particular thing, but then a nice little twist happens and it really takes you on a whole different thing, but still aligning with the same thing which it promised early on. And I enjoyed that. The movie also have some really good emotional scenes. The chemistry between Jann and Jack, played by David Harbour, was pretty good, and David Harbour was, as expected, a tough mentor with a charm, and Jann too, the actor who played the role of Jann, was pretty good as well. And it's really impossible to not talk about how the racing sequences were executed in a movie about racing. I will say it was good. I enjoyed it. There were some of these small things which were planted in the movie earlier, which came back at the end, which was pretty good to see. It was like getting the payoff to the smaller things which were planted earlier in the movie. Now the movie keeps you hooked overall. Some tension between some characters, it is recurring. So that is also one reason by which the movie feels more connected in some way. It makes it whole. Now there were some scenes which I enjoyed the most because of how it was shot and edited. Now, like, there were these three main people in the story. It's not a big spoiler, but there were these three main people in the story of how the GT Academy was actually started, and then they show their own motives individually, and then they kind of put them out on the screen combined. So that was pretty good to watch. Now let's talk about the choices that the lead man Jann was making, which I did not like. Now there is this big race tomorrow. That's not a big spoiler, but there is this big race tomorrow which he has to win. In fact, there are a lot of things on the line for him. Like his parents continuously grind him for leaving school and doing this racing thing behind a console, not even on a real racetrack. So he really got this big point to prove to his parents that, okay, you are wrong, I was right. So there are still a lot of things at stake here. But just before one night before the race, he sneaks out with his brother to see about a girl. And before his brother mentions about the girl, he was going to practice for the race. Going directly from practicing for the race to just going directly to just hanging out with this girl, it really put me off. And even the entire love story in this movie really put me off. I mean, it didn't make any sense, it was not needed. But yeah, I understand this movie is based on a real story, so that love story would have been an important part of the real story. But yeah, it did really put me off, and I think there should have been a better way to represent that story on screen. But alright, overall the movie is good. You can definitely watch the movie, and you can check out some other videos on my channel as well. Thank you so much for watching.